I'm Sebastian St. James. Most people hate doing their taxes, and for some of you, it fills you with dread. Today I will show you how to do your taxes with just a single click of a button, but you're going to have to start preparing today. My last tax return took me 3 seconds to produce. So what is my secret? I am a trust fund manager, and our normal end-of-year taxes take about a week to complete, and they're highly complicated, which is what you'd expect from a trust fund. But this year was different. There was no hell week. I said no to doing my taxes like a Luddite. I set myself the mission to eliminate tax stress. Mission complete. This year I pressed one button and my tax return generated itself. What witchcraft is this, Sebastian? How many souls did you have to sacrifice to avoid doing your taxes? Just my own. I spent the last few months writing my own tax return software, and now everything is fully automated.
Oh yeah!
Today I will show you how it's done, and how you can apply the same techniques to your own taxes. Whoa. But Terry has a question. When I buy shares, my broker sends me a statement. What do I do with that? And thank you, Terry. You could print out your statements or save them to a directory, but there is a sneaky way to avoid doing this. Let's say I buy my shares through Emu Finance. This fictitious broker has a special ability. Hidden away on their transaction page is a special button. The download button downloads your transactions into a CSV file. And it looks like I may be buying some shares of some of my channel members. This leaves me with a comma-separated text file. But what good is that? That's where the tax return software which I wrote, Accountable, solves the problem. Accountable has the ability to read the text files downloaded from your broker and extract all that information. It imports that into our database, but Phil has a question. Can mere mortals import their share trades? And thank you, Phil. Yes, they can. Your current stockbroker likely gives you the ability to download your transaction history. Fine, but what do you do with it then? To find that out, we need to visit some hair. It's my latest channel member, Lynn Plat. Lynn knows her way around Excel. She can take this CSV file and open it in Excel. Each CSV file will open as a separate spreadsheet, so you may want to take those lines, copy them out, put them into a separate permanent spreadsheet that you have for all your transaction history. Time taken to get your transactions into a spreadsheet, about 30 seconds. But Elmo has a question. How do you match buy and sell transactions to work out your capital gains? And thank you, Elmo. Okay, using some channel members, let's generate some buys and sells and attempt to match them. Buy 100 Freddo Frog stocks, and we sell 100. I see, the buy and the sell matches. That was too easy. Even your grandmother could have matched that. But try this. The first 2 transactions don't match. Actually, there's no matches on any of them. Are there even the same number of shares? We bought 350 shares. And we sold 350 shares. This is unsolvable. It's impossible to match trades of different quantities. There are some things in life that just come as a whole. This is Wendy. Wendy sits in a bed that comes as a whole. Although she often contemplates buying a chainsaw. Your shares have exactly the same problem. Can your shares get their own bedroom and ever truly be happy? The answer is yes. According to the ATO, your shares were never married in the first place, and you can split them up however you want. Well, that is a relief. The key is to focus on the sell events. Here is our first one. While 100 doesn't match 150, what if I pretend that I bought these shares in 2 separate transactions? Aha! I see a match, a perfect match with a quantity of 100. And I can leave the remaining 50 shares to some future match. In Accountable, the tax return software which I've written, splitting up transactions to match them is fully automated. This is the amount of time it takes me to download the transaction history from my broker, about a second. Import the transactions, half a second. Match the buys and sells, half a second. So what used to be a laborious manual process, I've now fully automated away, and David wants to know if he can do the same. This is my latest channel member, David Nuttall. David is learning the programming language Python, and he wants to know whether he can automate some of his taxes. Well, the answer is yes. Start small and automate one part at a time. But when should you start doing your taxes? Should you wait till after the end of the financial year? No, that could lead to terrible things. I have discovered that one of our brokers only provides the last few months of share transactions. That's it. If we wait until after the end of the financial year, most of those share transactions will be gone. Steve wants to know what is the best way of recording your expenses. And thank you, Steve. The problem with expenses is that you've misunderstood what the government wants.
I know you told your friend you're not okay.
This is you overwhelmed by your tax expenses. As you know, the shoebox is the peak of human organisation. And you dramatically present your sacred box to your accountant like the work of art that it is. But you're confused. Your priorities are wrong. This is what the government wants from you. The government wants your totals, not the individual expenses. So you need to get your expenses into a spreadsheet and add them up. Most people will go their entire life without being audited by the ATO. So while you do need evidence if you're ever challenged, physically colour-coding your receipts by their star sign shouldn't be your priority. If the reality is slim that you're ever going to actually need them, what should you do with all your physical receipts? Personally, I like to turn mine into a fort. There are some people who are severely challenged. It's my latest channel member, N Yards. N is a little bit old-fashioned and never went to spreadsheet school. If you are a bit low-tech, can you add up your expenses manually? Well, the answer is yes. Or get your 8-year-old to add them up for you. With the Trust, we download our expenses directly from our expense account, and then we use different keyword filters to break up the different expenses into different groups. So the entire calculation takes half a second. What's the best way of tracking income for tax purposes? And thank you, Elmo. Generally, income is easier to track than expenses. Typically, it comes from the same sources. Mostly, it comes directly through your bank account. In the trust fund, most of the income appears alongside the expenses, and so we just download them together. So, to calculate our income and expense totals, half a second combined. Whoa! So far, so good. But Nicola is not convinced. Who's Nicola? It's my latest channel member, Nicola. Nicola says collecting data is one thing, but knowing exactly where that goes into your tax return is the real challenge. In society, some labels are hurtful. Coffee junkie. Sandwich hoarder. Very hurtful labels indeed. But when it comes to taxes, you have the right to speak your mind and label them. 11U 1C. Having labels is one thing, but they're confusing and impossible to remember. To sort this out, we need to find ourselves a cook. This is my latest channel member, Leonie Ramage. Some of Leonie's recipes don't use Australian terms, so she keeps a list to help her convert to Australian from foreign. With my tax return software, which amounts go into what labels is something I've coded into the software itself. But your life is boring when it comes to your taxes. So it's likely that you can create a tax code map once and use the same map again each year. And if you've ever had your taxes done by an accountant, you can use those past tax returns to work out what those labels should be. But that would be too simple. Unfortunately, the ATO wants to make your life more complicated. To sort this out, we need a Kiwi chef. Let's go with that. It's my latest channel member, a Kiwi. In cooking, you make sub-dishes in your journey along towards making the final dish. First, you create the bechamel sauce. And next, we'll make the bolognese. And we'll put all of those components together to form the lasagna. Doing your taxes often works the same way. You complete sub-forms on your journey to filling out the final form. This is the Supplementary Tax Form. It is a separate tax form that you may be required to fill out if you have rental income, foreign income, or capital gains. From that form, you copy certain figures across to your main tax return. In my tax return software that I wrote, we have a number of database tables and we use a waterfall model. Figures calculated in each table are free to flow into the next one. If you're using something like Excel, you can replicate this, have a series of tabs, and then the totals from each tab flow into the next. Or, if you're a bit old school, you can transfer the totals from one piece of paper to the next. In Accountable, we can calculate and generate the tax return in half a second. All up, the total is around 3 seconds. And it can be done with just a touch of a button. If you're doing your own version in a spreadsheet, then you could have a list of tax labels and the completed figures just like this. For most people, this is within your grasp. Will you be automating your tax return for next year?